Hey guys, this is the Acteria Magic Channel, and I'm Steve, the Acteria. Let's talk about a brand new commander right off the presses out of Adventures of the Forgotten Realms. Not in the main set, he's actually out of the commander set. Let's check him out. This is Posper Tome-Bound. 1 red, 1 black, 2 generic, Death Touch, 1/4, Tiefling, Warlock with Death Touch, Mystic Arcanum. At the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. Packed Boon. Whenever you play a card from exile, create a treasure token. This is interesting because this is not traditionally a combo commander. This is a pure value commander. You're going to be drawing basically 2 cards a turn. You're going to be able to get mana off the cards you're casting, so you're just going to do some dirty things to people. So let's talk about what works best with Posper. Let's check it out. And first off, let's talk about some honorable mentions. If you wait till the end of the video, I'll show you a combo. Let's go. So first up, apologies about the formatting, but let's talk about Adventure. Adventure, the first half, if we do our Adventure, for an example, Embrith Shieldbreaker, if we use Battle Display, Sorcery, Adventure, destroy target artifact for 1 red, now the second half, that puts it into exile. The second half then costs the 1 red and 1 colorless to put a 2/1 into play. That counts as casting something from exile. So I just want to point that out. Same with Murderous Writer. I know my formatting is all kinds of goofy right now, but Murderous Writer is a 3-drop, 2 black, 1 generic, but he has Swift End. It says 2 black, 1 generic, instant adventure, destroy target creature or planeswalker, you lose 2 life. Not a big deal in Commander. But we also can cast him from exile and get a treasure token, get a 2/3 lifelink. These were 2 of the best adventure cards that I saw. So let's keep going. Let's talk about the rest of the cards. Number 5 on our list, let's talk about it. That is Academy Manufacturer. This is a 3-drop, 1/3. If you would create a clue, food, or treasure token, instead, create 1 of each. This is going to be so good with Posper. Posper is going to create treasure tokens all the time, which means with Academy Manufacturer, we're going to get a food, a clue, and a treasure. These are all artifacts. These are all good for us. Clues draw us a card, food draws and gives us mana, and treasures just give, clues give us cards, foods give us life, and treasures give us mana. All of these are great. All of these are useful. Academy Manufacturer got number 5 on my list. All right, number 4 is kind of a hodgepodge, kind of a bunch of cards all kind of rolled into one because they all kind of do the same thing. 4.2 Outpost Siege and Vance's Blasting Cannons. These things do something a little bit different, each of them. Outpost Siege is a 4-drop. And we're going to choose the cons every time. It says at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. Until on the turn, you may play that card. That means we can play lands or we can cast spells. However, Vance's Blasting Station reads a little different. It says at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast that card this turn. So we cannot play lands off of Vance's Blasting Cannon. Okay, next up, 4.1 is Stolen Strategy. It's 1 red, 4 generic. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until on turn, you may cast online cards from among those cards exiled. You may spend mana as though or any mana of any color to cast those spells. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. So now we're getting value off of our opponent's deck. And it's usually 3 cards. We're like, in essence, drawing 3 cards off of our opponent's libraries. Valica Exploration. This is a card I want to play with in a lot of different decks. I just discovered it. It's so cool. It's a 1 red, 2 generic landfall. When a land enters the battlefield under control, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. At the beginning of your end step, if there are cards exiled with Valica Exploration, put them into their owner's graveyard. Then Valica Exploration deals that much damage to each opponent. I want to mention here that if you play something like Explosive Vegetation, Circuitous Root, what's Sky Shroud Claim, These all go get 2 lands and put them into play. That's not to include your land drop for the turn. So you could potentially have 3 lands enter the battlefield in 1 turn. And if you don't cast them, you're just going to shoot everybody. Yeah, you're just going to shoot everybody for all the mana cost of all of those cards. That's so good. Well, it's just going to be 1 or 3. My bad. Anyway, so Valica Exploration, really cool. You're getting a lot of cards off of the top of your library. A very powerful card. I love it a lot. Next up, let's talk about Jessica's Will. This is number 3. Arguably could be number 1. It's just so powerful. It's a 1 red, 2 generic. Choose one. If you control a commander as you cast a spell, you may choose both. Add 1 red for each card and target opponent's hand, or exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. This is so great because if we play our commander, then we just get a crap ton of mana, probably 5 plus if I had to guess, and then we're going to be able to cast those spells. So whenever we cast those spells, that means we're going to get more treasures, more mana available to do more stuff in the same turn. It's just such good synergy, such good value. Just awesome. There's a reason why it carries a $15 price tag. Next up, number 2. This was a hard one. No, it wasn't hard at all. This was just downright simple. Number 2 is Ragavan, Nimble Pilferer. It's a 1-drop, 2/1 legendary monkey pirate. If you guys haven't seen this card, quit living under the rock. It says whenever Ragavan Nimble Pilferer deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token and exile the top card of that player's library. Until end of turn, you may cast that card. I'm just kidding. You don't have to live underneath the rock. I love you. I have a rock out back for myself. Until end of turn, you may cast that spell. Okay, so this guy is going to exile cards from the top of our opponent's library that we can now cast. It's also going to give us a treasure token. So we're going to get a treasure token whenever it deals combat damage to a player. We're going to get a treasure token from whenever we cast our opponent's spell, and because of our commander, whenever our commander's in play. And then we can also dash the monkey into play for a red and a generic. This dude is so good. There's a reason why he carries a $75 price tag on TCG Mid and a $100 price tag on Card Kingdom. He's amazing. However, it's still not my number 1. My number 1 is probably the most budget card on this list, but it's the only card I can think of that allowed me to go combo off on people's faces. That's Magda, Brazen Outlaw, 1 red, 1 colorless, 2/1 Dwarf Berserker. Other dwarves you control get +1/+0. When a dwarf you control becomes tapped, create a treasure token. Sacrifice 5 treasures. Search your library for an artifact or dragon card. Put that card into the battlefield, and then shuffle your library. We are going to go cray-cray with Magda. We're going to sack so many artifacts to go find so many dang treasures. Or sorry, artifacts. Let's go talk about them. So the first thing we're probably going to go find is Clockwork Elements. Apologies for the formatting, but it's a 4 generic. Tap 2 untapped artifacts you control. Untap target artifact. So what we're going to do is we're going to tap Clock of Omens and one of our treasure tokens to untap Clock of Omens. Clock of Omens is going to become untapped. And then we're going to go find ourselves Universal Automaton. Now we need some more mana rocks to be able to go find Universal Automaton, but there's probably going to be plenty. Now, whenever Universal Automaton is a 1 generic, by the way, Changeling, which means he's also, or he, she, whatever the heck it is, a dwarf. It's a dwarf. So whenever it becomes tapped, we're going to get a treasure token. So whenever we tap Universal Automaton and the new treasure token for Clock of Omens is going to then untap Universal Automaton. And then we're going to go infinite with all these treasure tokens. Now, we want to do it at the end of somebody else's turn because all of these treasure tokens are going to end up tapped, which is important to note because we need to have these treasures untapped to be able to sack and add them for mana. Well, Magda does not need these artifacts to be untapped to be able to sacrifice them to go find more stuff from our graveyard. So what we're going to end up with is infinite treasure tokens. Sorry about the formatting. I'm trying to work on it. I'm sorry. Anyway, we're going to end up with infinite treasure tokens. These treasure tokens are going to allow us to go find whatever we want out of our library as far as an artifact or a dragon. So, if we go infinite at the end of somebody else's turn, get infinite treasure tokens, and then at the end of their turn, we sacrifice 5 more of these treasures, and we get Bolas's Citadel, we can infinitely, and hear me out on this, we can now, after we've untapped, we can now infinitely melt the faces off of our opponents because we have infinite tokens to infinitely untap our Bolas's Citadel. We have infinite tokens, treasure tokens, to sack 2 Bolas's Citadel, so we can keep untapping and keep sacrificing until we melt everybody down to 0. I'm just kidding. Name that movie. Name the movie. You know it. Or, and this is not searchable with Magda, or we can exsanguinate. Exsanguinate is so good. Now most of this stuff can be done at the end of our opponent's turn, and then we untap and we get all of those treasures untapped, ready to go for an exsanguinate. Again, with the face on melty doom. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. I loved it. I'm super tired. I'm ready to go for bed. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Please help support the channel. And I love you. I'll see you next time. Bye!